Hello, my friends on Patreon. I wanted to take a moment and share a couple of stories based on a concept that's now called life hacks, giving you a life hack, a way to hack a problem that we face in life. And the problem today is overcoming the no, overcoming when people say no. And I want to first say that this is based in the old idea of the squeaky wheel gets the oil. This is like the conversations I've had in the past about finding the qualified lead when getting a sale. But this is more about in day to day life, all of the little problems that we have to overcome when companies and organizations and people we're trying to interact with have grown too large. And so they've created a rule where they want everybody at the interact with customers level to say no as much as possible to keep the system flowing as easy as possible. And that's because that's in the best interest of their very large organization, but it may not necessarily be in the best interest of us as a individual customer, purchaser, individual trying to get through life and get things done. And this isn't always going to work. I accept the fact that in our system as a healthy, straight, white male, that I am very privileged and am able to overcome a lot of these things much easier than a lot of people are. But I do believe that the ideas and tools that I'm going to share today will help everybody get to the next step, at least a new way of thinking about this in order to try to overcome some of these problems. So what am I talking about? Years ago, my uncle gave me a great concept where he said to me, if you were to talk to the owner of the company and ask for something reasonable that others in the company would say no to, the owner of the company would probably say yes, if nothing else, just to make you go away, because this issue is much smaller than what she or he or they deal with, or should, spend their time they're doing. And so the concept that I like to share with my students and with others that talk to me about this concept is this idea that if I went to Subway Sandwich and I said to the sandwich artist, that's what it says on their shirt, the sandwich artist, can I have a free 6-inch sub? I come here all the time. I buy sandwiches all the time. I don't have any money on me today. I left my wallet at home. Can I have a free 6-inch sub? More than likely, that person is going to say no, and that's because they can't. They're not allowed to. They would be fired if they gave us a free 6-inch sub. But if I was to go to the manager and say, can I have a free 6-inch sub? They'd probably say no. If I give a reason, like what I just gave, that I'm a customer, I shop here all the time, you know me, I buy lots of sandwiches here, I left my wallet at home, I'll pay you when I come back next time. The manager might say yes. If they know you, they recognize you, the argument that you make is sound, they believe that you'll pay them back, there's someone who could do it, but they probably won't. If you were to get to the regional manager of the Subway sandwiches in your area was there, and you said that to them, there's a good chance that they have a pocket full of coupons for free 6-inch sandwiches, and they would hand you one and give you a free 6-inch sandwich. If the vice president of Subway Sandwich was there with you in the room, or you were able to contact them somehow and get to them, they would probably say yes, sure, give him a free 6-inch Subway sandwich. It's fine. It's not a problem, right? The thank you for being a good customer. And I have found this to be very true in my life. Particularly, I've had several instances this week where this has been an issue, and I just wanted to share some of them as concepts that I use in my life to overcome these problems. So here's a smaller one we'll start with. And I know some people will look at this and say, well, gee, you should just submit to these issues. Why do you feel you deserve more than others or better than others, to be treated better than others? Why are you being a Karen and demanding things? And that's a key point, is don't be a Karen. Don't yell or ever get angry at the person who can't do it for you, the person who is powerless, the person who would like to help, or maybe they don't want to help, but they don't have the ability to help. There is no reason to get angry at that individual. There's no reason to lose your temper at that person, because they're not the person who created this rule, and they're not the person that can help you overcome it. But they might be a person that can help you get to the next step. So, let me give you a few examples that have happened to me in the last week. First, I I went to renew my driver's license. I went to renew my driver's license. Showed up because I'm about to go on a trip to the UK and I need a new driver's license. And went to the window there, the DMV, and there were about 12 employees sitting at empty windows. There was a full room filled with chairs, all spaced out for COVID, with X's on the floor. No one was in any of the chairs. There wasn't a line behind me, and the person, the gatekeeper there at the door, said, "Do you have a reservation?" And I said, "No, I don't have a. Well, you have to get an online reservation. We're not taking people today. We're too short-staffed." And I looked at the room and I looked back at him. Now I could make the obvious statement, look, there's plenty of staff, there's nobody there, the chairs are empty. But that wouldn't help, because this individual has been told that they have to say no to everybody for this reason, and they have to send people away to get reservations. Well, how do I get a reservation? Well, you go on our website. Well, can I get one for today? No, we don't have any more today. All right. This person, we're done. There's no point in getting angry with this person. There's no point in arguing with this person. I have to say to them at this point, is there anyone who I could talk to above you who might be able to help me? No, because my supervisor is who told me to tell this to everyone. Okay, I understand that. May I talk to your supervisor? Well, he's going to say the same thing to you that I just did. I absolutely understand that. I mean, no, I get it. I've just driven all this way. It would just make me feel better if I could speak to him for a moment. Well, he's going to say what I did. I understand. If I could just speak to him for a moment, it would mean so much to me. Well, you'll have to wait. He's very busy. I will. So I sat down and I waited, and the manager came out, the supervisor of the DMV. And I said to him, look, I'm leaving in 4 days to the UK. This is the only day I'm able to come out and do this. Please, I've come at a moment here that you don't have anybody here, and this will literally mean I will have to cancel my trip to England. Is there anything we can do to, I'm happy to wait till the end of the day if you're too busy. Just sit here all day. Is there anything we can do to make it possible for me to be able to renew my driver's license? And he said, have you filled out a form? I said, no, I haven't. Okay, go fill out a form. Then he told the employee, look, you did the right thing. You did what I told you to do. But this guy, we're going to make an exception and let him go through. So I went through, and within 7 minutes, I was able to renew the driver's license. And in that 7 minutes time, none of the employees at the other desks to the right or left of me had anybody come in to renew their license. They were just sitting there. As I left, they started to have a line, but the line was all people that this individual was telling, you're not going to be able to go through, you have to get a reservation. And they all turned around and went home and ruined their day. And I feel bad about that. I feel bad. I desperately wanted to be an advocate for everybody in that line, but we can't do that. If there was a particular circumstance, maybe, but we should advocate for others where we can. But that's why one of the reasons I want to talk to you about this. I had went to the airport and took a flight to Miami, as some of you know. And I went up. I always go up to the airline, and I ask if they need people to give up their seat for others, if they need anybody who's willing to take a later flight for others. Because usually the airlines, if they overbook the plane, which they used to do a lot and are doing less of now, they will pay people if you're willing to take a later flight, right? If you volunteer is what they call it. And so I always ask before they make the announcement, because if I wait till they make the announcement, whoever's closest to the desk is going to get to volunteer and going to get that money. So I always go up to the desk and say, "Do you need anyone to volunteer for this flight?" And they usually say, "Oh, I don't think so," or "I'm not sure." And I say, "Well, why don't you take down my name just in case?" And that way I'm at the start of the list if it happens. And this time it did happen. And so they said, "All right, Mr. Draper, we're able to offer you $600 if you can take a flight 1 hour later. This is a real benefit of flying somewhere the day before." And so because $600 for an hour of my time, my gosh, that's a wonderful use of the time. I don't make $600 an hour most hours, right? And but yet I still said, "Is there any way that you could offer more?" And the person said, "Well, that's all I can offer." And I said, "Well, is there a supervisor, anybody that can offer more?" "Well, I don't think they will. They'll just offer what I offered." I said, "Oh yeah, but it would make me feel so much better if we could just try. Could we try?" And they said, "Sure." And they called the supervisor, and the supervisor said, "Yeah, we could bump it up to 800." And I said, "Thank you so much. I'll take that." My grandfather used to have a saying: if you can make $100 by just asking a couple of questions, it's really worth it. And this is something that is the stereotype of my family, right? But that it didn't hurt them to do that. It didn't bother any of those people to do that. It didn't come out of their pocket or their paycheck. I wasn't mean or grumpy with them. And I made an extra $200 just for asking that question. So I sat there for 1 hour, moved to another gate, and made $800 for that time. I purchased a new dryer because mine was 17 years old and had finally given up the ghost. And that was a bit of a hardship this month. But did that, and they didn't ship it on the day that I wanted it to be shipped. They had given me a day and a time frame that it was going to come, and it didn't come during that time. Now most people would just say, "Okay, that's fine." But instead, I called and I said, "Gee, you said it was going to be on this day, but it's coming on this day. That's a bit of a hardship." And the person says, "Yes, I'm so sorry. Gee, And I said, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm not angry at you." This is a line I use a lot. "I'm not angry at you. It's not your fault, and I understand that. And you're not my enemy, and I'm not your enemy. But I am angry about this. You can understand how someone could be upset about this." And they say, "Yes." And I know there's probably nothing you can do to help me. But I mean, is there anybody in the company I could talk to and say, "Gee, this has been a hardship because I gave up, my hours today to this, and now I have to give up my hours on another day for when it may come. Is there any way to get a free cupcake or anything?" And instead of being angry, I make a joke. I make it silly. And they said, "Absolutely, you can call this line, and they'll do it for you." And I called that line, and they gave me 20% off my dryer and all the parts and the delivery and all of that just for asking. I got 20% off my dryer because I asked if I could have a free cupcake as a joke. This becomes more serious as it becomes things that are more expensive. I recently had a medical procedure, and and the medical procedure was not covered by my insurance because I have a high deductible. And it the first bill came and I paid it, and the second bill came and it was a lot. It was a lot of money, and things went well, and I'm okay. But and we're moving forward with some other things, and everything's okay. But it was expensive, and I called because they used the same code twice. And I called and said, "Was there a mistake here? Did they double bill me?" "No, we didn't double bill you." "Is there anyone I could call to check and see if these numbers are right?" "Yes, call this other number." They both these groups use the same code. They said, "Yes, one's for the hospital and one's for the physician." "Okay, well, it's a lot. Is there any, are there any coupons? Is there anything I can do?" And they said, "Well, are you looking for financial aid?" And I said, "Sure, if you have it." And I thought by that they meant that there was somebody that would let me pay a smaller amount monthly. So I called the number that they said, and I said, "Hi, I'm looking to see what you have for financial aid on this procedure, because they had billed me a lot of money, uh, and uh, um, and they said, well, how many family members do you take care of? And I told them. And how much money do you make per month? And I told them. And what are your expenses per month? And I told them. And they said, okay, we could drop it down to, and they dropped the price of my medical procedure 75% if you can pay it right now. Yes, I had no thought that it was going to go that way. I thought they were going to give me monthly payments and break it into something smaller. I didn't have to cry or beg or give a good reason. But anybody who didn't know, like me, if I hadn't have asked, is there anything that can be done? If that person hadn't offered, oh well, the hospital has all sorts of financial assistance, and it's not like I asked her. I said, does this mean that there will be somebody else who won't be able to receive this assistance? And she said, what do you mean? I said, like, is there a fund that you're pulling from to give this money to me, and that means somebody else won't get it? And she said, oh, no, 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 we just do this. Oh, so anybody could make this call and do this and get 75% off. Yep, if they answered like you answered. And I told the truth about everything they asked me. So this is what I'm saying, is that there is the world that we're faced with every day. There are these walls where people are saying no, and that's their job. Their job is to say no, and they do not have the power to say yes. On the phone, the most common answer you receive from people when I ask for something like, um, can I, my power went out. Can I get somebody out here in the next hour? Most of the time, the answer is no, and there's nothing I can do about it, and we don't do anything for anybody, and my supervisor can't do anything for anybody either. And then people yell at them, and these people are getting yelled at every single day. But I say to them, look, I'm your friend. You're my friend. I'm not mad at you. You're just the only person I have access to in your company. And so I have to ask you as a kindness here. I mean, I don't have access to anybody else. You're an expert in this. This is your job. You've had thousands of people call you with these sort of problems, and I get it. You say no to everybody. Is there any way through this? Is there anybody who could help? Is there anyone who has the power to help? One more example. I won some JetBlue tickets a few years ago. This is before the pandemic. At a charity event, I won some free JetBlue tickets, and anywhere they fly. And these JetBlue tickets expired during the pandemic, and I didn't use them. So I called the customer service line, and I waited on hold for 2 hours. And then they told me, there's nothing we can do. They're just expired. I'm so sorry. Call the charity, see if they can do anything. And I called the charity, and the charity said, yes, this has happened to other people before. The only thing we could do is ask JetBlue for more free tickets for our next charity auction, and then give them to you for free instead of making money for our charity. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to take from anybody who needs. And so then I called back the next day and waited another 2 hours on the phone. And I said, is there anything I can do? Is there any way anyone could do anything for me? Do you know anyone? Could I talk to a supervisor? I got on with a supervisor, and they said, no, there's absolutely nothing we can do. In all the years I've been here, I've never known of anybody having any success getting an expired piece changed, on and on and on. So I searched on LinkedIn and on Google, like my grandfather taught me years ago and my uncle taught me, for people that are vice president, president, CEO level at JetBlue. And I wrote to 6 of them. I wrote to 6 different vice president level people at JetBlue saying, look, I bought these at a charity auction and they've expired during the pandemic, and I've made this call and this call and this call, and they said it's impossible. Is there any way that you could extend these so that I could use them, that I purchased at this charity event? And just sent it into the ether, sent it out these emails. Had no, didn't stretch the truth, didn't push anything beyond saying exactly what the situation was. But I spoke to people who had the power to make those changes. So I received a email back from the JetBlue executive secretary of one of these vice presidents who said, absolutely, send us the codes of those tickets and we will extend them until November. So I spoke with 3 employees, even a supervisor level employee, who said they've never known anyone who's been able to do this. But sometimes you just have to ask the right person. You just have to communicate with them. Now, this isn't going to work for everybody, but some of these were over in person where I had some power and presence. Some of these were over the phone where I had my voice, but some of these were just a blank email. Now, you can say maybe they looked me up on Google and because of who I am, they decided to do this, and maybe that's true. Maybe that's true, but even then, I think that it's worth it to ask. I think it's worth it to go to the next level. I think it's worth it to take the next step. I remember when I was in college, very often I'd go to the registrar's office and ask for a class that was already full, and they'd say, it's impossible, we can't get you in. And then I'd say, well, can I speak to the registrar? And the registrar would say, sure, I can get you in, or yes, we can expand this, or here, take this sheet to the professor, and the professor will sign you in, and. And so I learned this, and I've used this tool throughout my entire life to realize that the person that's saying no to me isn't my enemy. The person who's saying no to me is just the only person I have access to right now. And they have been told that they must say no. And they have been told that they will be rewarded for saying no and punished for saying yes. And they believe that their supervisor will do the same thing. And it's important to the company that they believe that. And maybe the supervisor tells them that they will do the same thing. Um, and maybe the supervisor will. Maybe you'll have to go up 3 or 4 levels like I did with JetBlue. Maybe you'll have to find the correct office like I did with the healthcare system. Maybe you'll have to find the right person in the right moment in order to make it happen. But all I have to say is all of these have happened to me in the last about 10 days. And I'm using this tool all the time in my life. And I would hate for you to be faced with a situation in life where you are constantly having people say no to you with these organizational rules where they're supposed to say no, and that you just submit to it at the first level. Um, Sometimes we have to submit to it. Sometimes we have to say, okay, that's just the way it is. That's life. It's a problem I can't fix. It's okay. And we smile and stay happy. But it's worth stepping it up one level to see if we can go back to the ideal of the customer is always right and go back to a place where we're able to accomplish the things that we need to get done and sail through life more smoothly by choosing our battles, not fighting the people who can't make a difference, not fighting brick walls, but instead taking it to places where the stream flows through the delta instead of getting caught in the bank. So if you would help me, let me know down below if this has been a useful Patreon update and maybe some other ideas from anthropology, musical theater, magic, social sciences, the things I'll be teaching coming up at Soka University, or what you would like me to share. The fact that you've continued to be on here has meant so very much to me. Thank you for all of your help, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Let me know about your successes. Bye.